Alright, Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I know you Israelites always hear me explaining the history. Well, I have a guest today. And the guest is, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm NearYah Israel.
Alright, this is NearYah Israel. And, we're going to just be talking about a little things. I thought it'd be a little exciting to have a female voice on here for you sisters that listen, to me, that maybe, with an Israelite sister that it'll, be a little more connection to. Alright, sister, NearYah Israel, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Alright, you doing pretty good. Well, I'm thankful that you, able to collaborate with me on this video. Thank you, and thank you from the Israelite Brotherhood. Alright, I want to ask you something. Being a sister in the Israelite struggle and having some consciousness, what do you think of the Israelite community today?
Well, what I think of the Israelite community today, I feel like it's grown. From the time I, came into my Israelite history book when I first found out who I was, and until now, I think it's been a big difference in the amount of people who also realize who they are as Israelites.
Right, because at one time, it was, you would just, have to really conversate with people, and a lot of people to, connect with somebody that's an Israelite. Yes, it's a lot of Israelites, and I run into Israelites.
The only thing I run into as a Hebrew Israelite is like just the different fractions. You got those in purple. You got those who were all white, who originated in Florida, and then you got the people who really
a lot of Israelite organizations everywhere.
There's a lot of different Israelite organizations. But the thing is, the important thing is that we waking up to who we are.
Right. Yes. So true. Okay. Well, I want to ask you this most important thing. You being an Israelite sister, and you got some understanding of the history. What do you think about, the two God theories? Y'all having a son dying for our sins, coming to save us, and that type of ideology that the Israelites hold.
As far as that two God thing, like Jesus, that demigod worship, I feel like that people should, they should, if they don't know that by now, they should be waking up to how much of a mixed match it is between the Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament take you in a whole different direction and put you on something a whole different, thing than the Old Testament does. And when you think about the Old Testament, and if you really go back and read for yourself and study, you'll find in there, you don't find anything about Jesus in there. You don't find anything about Almighty Yah saying he had a son he was going to send to us, and and we should worship him.
Right, because
you don't see that in there.
Right, because he would at least told, Moses, hey, that's part of the covenant.
Right.
And that, be on the lookout.
And didn't Almighty Yah say he a jealous God? He don't worship nobody but him. So then why would he tell you to worship his son?
Right.
And then another issue I got with that two God thing, it's really not on the two God thing, but it's just all the paganism in that Jesus worship. You got what we coming up on now. We coming up on that Christmas stuff. Okay, so you celebrating Jesus' birthday, but then you say Santa Claus giving you stuff and all this old crazy stuff that go along with it.
Right.
You always teach your kids not to lie, but then you telling them the biggest lie of all, that Santa Claus bringing all this stuff to you and got you, and doing all this, when you as a parent put all that work in and buying all that stuff, but you giving credit to Santa Claus.
Right.
So
traditions.
And then you have to look at where that stuff come from too. Where did Santa Claus start?
Started with the Europeans and the Nordic traditions. And we got it from slavery.
But I'm saying back in them Nordic days, what that had to do with Jesus? It didn't have nothing to do with Jesus.
Right,
it's something whole different.
Right, they mix paganism into their religion.
It's the same thing with the Easter and all of that. So that's my spill on that.
All right, so tell me this. What do you think, man, there's a lot of Israelites that believe that the Americas is our homeland and that we are, from the Americas. What's your spin on that? What you think about that?
Well, I feel like we're not from America. This is not our homeland. We were brought over here. We came over here in ships through the transatlantic slave trade. And then what evidence do we have that we were here already?
Well, some Israelites try to say that they found Hebrew writings here and that some of the natives and so forth had somewhat of a Hebrew tradition, but I also explain in videos how that the Amorites or Canaanites that spoke Hebrew was in the Americas, long before it was, colonized by the Europeans, and that's how, the stuff Hebrew got here. Hebrew writings.
Well, they make voyages all the time. Voyages
right.
Ain't nothing new. The slave ships weren't the first ships. People made voyages all the time. But is this our homeland? No. When you go back and you think about what you believe in the Torah, in the Old Testament, Almighty Yah told us we was going to be taken to a strange land in ships.
Right.
A land that we had never seen before.
Right. So if you from the Americas, then you're not taken to no strange land.
In ships.
Right.
To a land that you never seen before.
Right. And then we know the natives held slaves the same as, the Europeans did.
Right.
Hey, then what about this? What about, your advice to so-called black women? How would you address them, being that you know your Israelite heritage? How would you,
You mean as far as them being Christian? Or
well, just overall, not in heritage. The black woman title and so forth.
Well, the way I came into my understanding is I was praying for truth. My heart was yearning for the truth. And I feel like if us as a people, not just as women, but as a people, turn our whole heart to the Creator and just pray and ask for truth gonna come to you. It will, that's it. Just if you really want to know truth, if you really seeking out what's real, what's not real, you have to ask the Creator to show you. Not just praying to Jesus, but asking the Creator of all, the Creator of the
of the universe, of the so-called humans, us humans.
Right. Just ask, turn your whole heart to Him, ask Him to lead you to the truth, and it'll come to you. That's how it happened to me.
Right, you prayed
as
and
far
you was yearning for truth.
I was yearning. My heart was yearning for truth.
And
I didn't even know what truth was.
Right.
I was just praying for it. I didn't know I wasn't in the truth.
Right.
I just was praying for truth.
Right.
And then Almighty Yah brought it to me.
Right.
As far as the sisters out there, I think we should clean ourselves up. Be upright, upstanding women. You don't have to dress down. Keep yourself, decent.
Don't have the spirit of the Queen of Heaven worshipers in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, when it described how arrogant and so forth that the women was, and how that they, didn't want to submit to Yah and went into Egypt. Yes, it's about the submission to Almighty Yah. Okay, is there some other things on your mind that you would like to discuss? Because I, got quite a few videos and I'm always talking about Israelite history.
One thing I do want to say, as somebody who is knowledgeable of the Hebrew Israelite history. I want people. I want to be able to tell people. I want to be able to, not be ashamed to say, "Hey, look, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I worship the Creator. I worship Almighty Yahweh." And I want to be able to do that, and that's why I'm doing this video.
Not worried about if you offending somebody
Right.
because the way that you believe and
and
it's right.
And it's changing. It's gonna be a time when they gonna be ashamed and be offended because
they ain't into the heritage,
into the truth,
right.
Into the truth.
Yeah, it's coming. I can see that.
So the thing is I know we all have different walks in life, and we work different jobs, and we have to have a certain level of decorum when we.
What about the single Israelite sisters with these males? That's some of them sisters say, "Oh, I can raise my kid by myself, and I don't need no man."
I don't think this.
And the kids terrorize the community.
That's what's wrong with the kids now. That's
right.
why we have all these kids out shooting each other, stealing everybody's car, killing folk. It's because they don't have that guidance. They need their daddies. They need that male guidance. I don't care if you do say you can do it by yourself. You might can do it financially by yourself, but you can't teach no man how to be no man. You can't teach no young boy how to be no man. And when he don't have a man in the house, he gonna look elsewhere as his father for his father figure. So he may be looking to that
gang stuff,
to that
that'd be the first direction.
Music, shoot 'em up music, things like that.
Negativity got a stronger pull now because there's not no
because
positiveness.
It's all around you.
Right.
It's all around you. And if you don't have that positive male figure, I'm speaking for our boys, our daughters too, but our boys too. If you don't have that positive male figure to kind of reel you in and teach you right from wrong and teach you how to be a man, then then we can't do nothing but be doomed.
What about some of those Israelites that's searching for their Israelite heritage and they just ain't just convinced all the way,
if you're
but
not
they know.
Convinced all the way, don't listen to what nobody tell you. Read for yourself. If everybody talk about the Bible and how they believe in the Bible, read the Old Testament. Read the book of Jeremiah.
Read the Tanakh, period.
Read the Tanakh, period. But read Deuteronomy. I think it's Deuteronomy chapter 28. Don't nobody fit that but us. Ain't nobody been through that but us. And then the book of Jeremiah, if I'm correct, you might have to help me out with this. But the book of Jeremiah tell us what's going to happen because of our disobedience to the Creator.
Well, it told us what happened. All the prophets tell us what was going to happen for our disobedience, but you have no better sayings than what Prophet Moses said, the curses.
Right.
The curses, we had to go through each one of those curses.
My advice would be to read and find out for yourself. Don't believe what nobody say. The Bible, not necessarily the Bible, but the Old Testament been here forever. And that's the oldest book. And my son always tell me, people are always talking about what they believe, but they don't never read. Read it and find out for yourself. So, what verses or chapters would you suggest that they read if they trying to really truly find out who they are as a people? Us as a people.
Really all the books, all the books, because it's just one consistent history, but you have to view it and have an understanding of timeline. If you got an understanding of timeline, then you'll see that it's just one history all the way to the book of Malachi. And I got videos explaining the timeline, and I think it's probably, no better book than, the one that Prophet Moses, the curses.
Yeah. The one thing I would say that we as a people, we the only people on earth that been through what we've been through as far as the transatlantic slave trade, slavery, and then being always on the bottom. And, we went through this punishment for a reason. It's because we were disobedient to the Creator from the beginning. So when we turn our eyes back to the Creator and try to worship Yah as like we're supposed to, then we can kind of see ourselves getting out of these conditions that we in, and see ourselves returning to our homeland, because this is not home for us.
Right, this is not our homeland, and we should already understand that the Americas didn't have no sheeps, no goats, and no silver trumpets to call on Yah, none of those things, no wheels with axles and so forth. But you got a lot of Israelites that believe that the Americas mean it's their home, and they still searching. All
Well,
right.
that's part of the deception.
All right, I'm gonna just wrap this up, and I just wanted to, you Israelites to, hear somebody else besides me, and I'm gonna, probably, be speaking with the sister a little more on these videos. In Shalom, and I pray that everybody is having a good day, and thank you, Sister NearYah Israel.
Shalom. You're welcome.